for the ground balls. His slider is his best off-speed pitch. He'll use that when he's looking for a swing and a miss, and he'll mix in the occasional straight changeup.
E.D. Marshall Jewelers has a look around the diamond at the Pirates defense here this afternoon.
Starling Marte once again out in center field. He'll be flanked by Corey Dickerson in left. Austin Meadows over in right field. It'll be Colin Moran and Sean Rodriguez on the left side of the infield. The two Joshes, Josh Harrison at second, Josh Bell at first. Elias Diaz behind the plate today for right-hander Trevor Williams.
The plate umpire today is Corey Blazer calling the balls and strikes. Stu Sherwater at first base. Second base umpire Eric Cooper, and there's the crew chief Gary Cederstrom down at third. D-backs 10 games over 500, 2.5 up on the Dodgers for the NL West lead. The Giants 5 back. It's 5.5 for Colorado, and we are just about set to go as they look for a 4-game sweep here in Pittsburgh, PA. Different look to the lineup as we showed you earlier. John Jay gets the day off. Paul Goldschmidt gets the day off. So it's Gerard Dyson in center field. He'll lead it off. There's John Jay getting a well-deserved day off. Everybody's going to get some time here over the next couple of days, Torlovello says.
And we've talked about this in the past. In an odd kind of way, guys need an off day when they're doing well. You know, John Jay, Paul Goldschmidt, they've been getting on base a whole bunch, running the bases. Goldie had to slide into the catcher at home plate the other day. When you're on base a lot, you're running a lot, you're using your legs a lot, that's when you need a day off.
Yeah, Dyson and Marte got the off days yesterday. Today it's Jay and Goldie.
Yeah, when you're constantly making right turns at first base to go back to the dugout, it doesn't really take much out of you.
2-0 on Gerard Dyson, who's in center field today. That's a pitch that Williams really used effectively in his last start against Milwaukee, elevating that four-seam fastball. That seemed to make a big difference for him against the Brewers. That was Monday here. He worked 7 scoreless innings and gave up only 1 hit. Dyson starts it off, a base hit into right field.
And you wonder what the different look to the lineup today. A little more speed at the top of the order, some speed at the bottom of the order. Whether maybe Torrey will push some buttons today, get some runners in motion, steal some bases, play hit and run. You know, a lot of times when you take that thumper out of the middle of the lineup, you try to be creative in ways to score runs.
Ketel Marte bats in the 2-hole. .244, 6 homers, back in the lineup after his day off yesterday. Dyson 13 for 16 in his stolen base attempts this year. D-backs jumped out early with 2 in the first yesterday. They scored 3 in the first in the series opener Thursday. Diamondbacks right now 3rd in the majors with 53 first inning runs scored, trailing only the Rockies and the Indians. Double play ball here for Harrison. Rodriguez, and they roll it. That's another part of Trevor Williams' game. He's got that sinker going. He'll get some ground ball outs when he's on. Jake Lamb bats third, 225 home runs.
Yeah, if you think about it, that's a real good combination if you can execute the four-seamer up at the top of the strike zone and the sinker down at the bottom. If a hitter tells himself, I'm laying off that high fastball, I'm not going to swing at it, I'm going to make him get the ball down, and then you see the two-seamer down, you chase it, hit it on the ground, get a double play.
Really changed his results last week, Williams. Hit hard by the D-backs 2 starts ago. Had some defensive miscues behind him, but it was not an effective outing. There's a strike. He lasted only 3 innings and threw 80 pitches. And after that tough loss in Phoenix, bounced back nicely. 7 scoreless against Milwaukee here Monday. Lamb hits this one out to right field. 2-out single for Jake. That's his 4th hit in the series.
Yeah, I mentioned the 3 errors in the first inning in Trevor Williams' start back at Chase Field. One of them was his own. Josh Bell made an error. Josh Harrison made an error. And also Trevor Williams made an error in that first inning.
Well, David Peralta in the cleanup spot. 278. He's got 14 homers, having a big series.
Hey, you look at this lineup for the Diamondbacks today, and it appears to me that Torrey was going for shock and awe early. All the lefties piled up at the top of the batting order, all the way down to the 5 spot.
Dyson, Marte, Lamb, Peralta, Descalso, 1 through 5, all from the left side.
And a lot of times as a manager, you'll try to mix and match to make the decisions tougher late in a ball game for the opposing manager if he wants to make a pitching change to get a good matchup. That's why you try to stagger right left if as best you can. But today all the lefties piled up at the top, all the righties at the bottom.
Peralta hits one deep to right field. That ball is going, and it is way out of here. Oh my goodness, David Peralta. 2-0 D-backs.
Shock and awe.
That's one. That is in a van down by the river. Oh boy, did he clobber that.
That might have bounced into the tiki boat out there. Boy, that ball was blasted. We mentioned in the first game of the series, from center field around to the scoreboard in right field, it seems like there's a jet stream that carries the ball out that direction, and that's right where David Peralta hit it. Looked like a slider down and in.
Watch where this one lands. Stayed on. Oh, hopped over the concourse.
And that's going to end up in the water.
That's nice. Have to get Todd to find that one. He's down there already. Daniel Descalso, the 15th for David Peralta. Watch Archie Bradley.
Yeah.
Wow.
106 miles an hour off the bat of David Peralta. Estimated distance 425.
That's it?
That's what they say.
I think we got gypped. A jumbo jack, big time. Free jumbo jack tomorrow. A Jack in the Box with a purchase of a large drink. 0-2 on Descalso. That's not something Trevor Williams usually has an issue with. Only the 9th home run he's given up this year.
Well, once again, the Diamondbacks playing downhill baseball, getting on the board first in the first inning, giving Clay Buchholz a little cushion before he even goes out there to the mound.
3rd time in 4 games they put up multiple runs in the first inning in this series. Descalso chases that one down and away. Peralta gets it started. His 15th is in the river. 2-0 D-backs. 2-0 D-backs set for the home half of the first in Pittsburgh, where your Ram Truck starter is Clay Buchholz. 6 starts as a Diamondback, 1-1, a 2.94 ERA, and in 4 of those 6 starts, Buchholz has given up just 1 run.
Yeah, he's really only had 1 bad start, and that came against the Pirates back at Chase Field. Went 4 innings, gave up 7 hits and 5 earned runs in that game. Otherwise, he has been extremely effective.
Valley Chevy Dealers has the Pirates lineup.
Josh Harrison at second base leading it off. Austin Meadows will be out in right field. Starling Marte in center. Colin Moran will be at third base today. Corey Dickerson in left field. Elias Diaz doing the catching. Josh Bell at first. Sean Rodriguez at short, and Trevor Williams the righty on the mound.
Harrison 272 and 4 home runs this year. Boy, looks like Bill Madlock with that number 5 in that uni on.
He really does.
Oh, longtime third baseman for the Giants and the Pirates.
Talk about guys with short swings. Bill Madlock could wait till the ball was about an inch away from the catcher's glove and still put a good swing on it.
What a great hitter he was. Harrison, as you just saw, hitless in the series, had the day off yesterday. That's blasted down the line, but hooked foul. Got a hanging breaking ball that time. Harrison quiet at the plate this week. He's in a 2 for 21 skid right now. Buchholz ahead 1-2. Swing and a miss. Good start for Clay, his first strikeout. E.D. Marshall Jewelers gives us a look around the diamond at the D-backs defense.
Outfield of David Peralta in left, Gerard Dyson in center, Chris Owings over in right field in front of that Clemente wall in right, Jake Lamb and Nick Ahmed on the left side of the infield, Ketel Marte and Daniel Descalso on the right side, with John Ryan Murphy doing the catching for Clay Buchholz.
The right fielder Austin Meadows. D-backs will put the shift on against the left-hand rookie, who's got 5 hits in the series, all singles. Meadows in there at .330. He's got 5 home runs. 0 for 4 from the leadoff spot yesterday. Here's a look at the D-backs defense. Punches this the other way, right at Peralta, fighting that sun a bit. It is bright out here right now. 2 down.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you don't usually have to report on the sun at PNC, but it should affect the guys on the left side of the infield early in the ball game, especially high pop-ups to the left side.
Yeah, that cell, using little finger quotes, is blown through and pretty much blue sky overhead. The area around the mound is dried up a lot too.
I think they mistook some of the smoke from the barbecue outside for cloud cover and had the tarp on the field.
Got some Steeler fans tailgating. They're waiting for the opener. Starling Marte, the center fielder.
Ooh. Look, that gentleman took one to the chops there. He leaned over and tried to make a play, and the ball took a bad hop. Came up and got him in the beard.
Looks like Phil Garner down there. Oh, 0-2. Buchholz just pounding that strike zone. Marte 273, 9 home runs. Boy, Buchholz is a strike thrower.
That's an ideal situation for any pitcher, to give him a couple of runs of support in the top of the first inning, and it just lets him go out there and attack that strike zone.
In the air, pretty deep center field. Dyson at the track, and he's got it a couple of steps shy of the wall. How about that for a shutdown inning? 3 outs, 10 pitches for Buchholz. He leads it 2-0. Pittsburgh. Tomorrow, the World Cup continues on Fox at FS1, a full slate of matches. We start off at 6 a.m. Uruguay taking on Russia. Then later, Ronaldo and Portugal face Iran. The World Cup on Fox at FS1. Stream it all live on the Fox Sports app. Big day for England today. Tottenham Hotspur's Harry Kane with a hat trick. John Ryan Murphy, the catcher, leads off the second against right-hander Trevor Williams. John Ryan behind the plate today, 239, 8 home runs. Murphy gets into one down the left field line, and that ball is way out of here. 3-0 D-backs. That was hammered, and Murphy's got his 9th of the year.
Torrey just seems to have that magic touch. He has John Ryan Murphy in there for a reason today with Clay Buchholz, and takes advantage of his opportunity to play here in the day game at PNC, and launches a missile to left. 91-mile-an-hour heater, inner third of the plate. I think if John Ryan Murphy had to ask for a pitch from an opposing pitcher, that would be it. Whoa, way out of here.
Clank. Chris Owings, who just missed a grand slam here yesterday. Jumbo Jack off the bat of John Ryan. Free Jumbo Jack tomorrow with Jack in the Box with the purchase of a large drink.
That one was 105 off the bat, and believe it or not, it went farther than David Peralta's 434 feet.
Yeah, we got cheated on the Peralta homer. There's no doubt about it.
As long as they put the runs on the board, I don't care what they measure them.
I tell you what, Bob, it sure looks like Williams is sticking with the same approach that worked so well for him against the Brewers on Monday. We've seen a lot of high fastballs, middle or up. That four-seamer is getting away from that two-seam sinker changeup combo that he used to have. He strikes out Owings.
Well, and we know the Diamondbacks and other teams around Major League Baseball do extensive homework before facing an opposing pitcher. They just saw him at Chase Field on that last homestand. I'm sure they watched video of that Milwaukee game to see what he was doing so effectively against the Brewers, and then came up with a game plan.
Nick Ahmed, the shortstop, 219 and 10 home runs. I know you were making the mad dash down the hallway, so I did the World Cup update. I told folks about Harry Kane's hat trick.
Yeah, that was exciting.
You were excited about coming in to work today.
Yeah, Harry Kane, I was never a big fan of his, but he's really stepping to the forefront when they need him the most.
Come on, you Spurs. How do you think that new facility is going to work out over at White Hart Lane?
Really nice.
Yeah. All right.
State of the art, I'm sure.
Oh, it is. They've spent a bajillion dollars on that thing. 1-1 on Nick.
Speaking of spending money on a facility, one of this dates in baseball history I looked at this morning, Fenway Park.
Yeah.
They started construction on this day. $650,000 it was going to cost to build that stadium.
Well, they had a big fire after about 10 years or so that burned down a lot of it. Remember that. That one's bobbled by Moran at third, and Ahmed's aboard. Tried to make the backhand play down the line, and that is an E5.
And that's become a recurring theme for the Pirates as well, as they've struggled here in the month of June. They're just not making many plays behind their pitchers.
Well, as we mentioned, they made some really bad ones behind Williams 2 starts ago in Phoenix. A run is in on the Murphy homer. Ahmed at first, 1 out. Here's Buchholz. A couple of sack bunts this year. He's a good bunter. Oh, right in front of home plate. Diaz goes to second, and they just do get Nick.
Yeah, he deadened that one just a little bit too much. Needed to roll out toward the mound just a little bit more, get down the first baseline away from that catcher. Nice play by Diaz, bouncing out from behind the dish and getting the lead runner at second base.
Pirates still without Francisco Cervelli, who's on the concussion DL right now. Seen a lot of Diaz in the series. Gerard Dyson, a single to right field to lead off the ball game. Another high fastball in there for a strike.
Good take right there. A little change up, fading off that outside corner. Wants Dyson to swing at that, try to pull it to the right side. That was a really good take.
Late time granted by Corey Blazer.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free crunchy beef tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
On the ground to second for Harrison. D-backs add a run, another home run, the 9th of the year for John Ryan Murphy. They lead it 3-0. Here in Pittsburgh, the 2018 Camping World MLB All-Star Ballot is now open, and it's exclusively online. Make sure your favorite D-backs are there. Vote at dbacks.com/vote and catch all the excitement of the 89th MLB All-Star Game, presented by MasterCard. July 17th, it's live on Fox.
I can't encourage Diamondback fans anymore to get online and vote. If you want Goldie, if you want Patrick Corbin, if you want some of the Diamondbacks to go to the All-Star game, you got to get online and vote, because you know the Cubbies are stuffing the ballot box for their players. Same thing in Atlanta.
Tell you what, as we told you at the top of the show, with the June that a lot of these guys are having, they should have a whole bunch of All-Stars.
Yeah, they should.
Colin Moran leads off the Pittsburgh second against Clay Buchholz. D-backs put the shift on. Moran 269, 7 homers. This is in the air. Backs up Peralta in left field, fighting that sun. And boy, Clay Buchholz has 4 outs on 11 pitches.
Attacking that strike zone. This is an aggressive Pirates team. They will be patient if you show you can't throw consistent strikes. But if you're in and around the strike zone, they're going to be hacking.
That's one of the things that Mike Hazen and Torey Lovullo like most about Clay Buchholz from their time in Boston. He attacks the strike zone. He comes right at you. Corey Dickerson, 303 on the year. He singled and was hit by a pitch yesterday. Case in point right there. Buchholz throws strike one. Another one-run effort in his previous start for Clay. That was last Sunday against the Mets. Gave up just 4 hits in 5 2/3, but got another no decision. And he had a very difficult time with these Pirates 2 starts ago, as we mentioned at Chase Field. He was kind of yanking balls off the plate, falling behind in counts, which is uncharacteristic for him. But the Pittsburgh hitters in that game had a really good approach against him. They didn't really chase pitches out of the zone. They fouled off a bunch in the zone and had some long at bats against him. But it's been quite a different story so far here today. This is inside, 1-2.
You may have noticed that time John Ryan Murphy called for a pitch inside to the left-handed hitter and then backed up a little bit. John Ryan Murphy's had 2 catcher's interference called on him already this season, getting a little too close to that hitter and getting hit with the bat on the swing. That time he actually moved back a little bit from his set position.
On the ground, punch to shortstop, Nick Ahmed. Boy, Clay Buchholz is locked in right now. 5 up, 5 down. 5 outs on 15 pitches.
Batting 6, the catcher, number 32, Elias Diaz.
The little gal that's doing the PA announcing here sounds like me.
Elias Diaz.
Elias.
Check with Elias on the pronunciation of Elias. That was cute.
Yep.
Another strike one.
Well, that's easy pickings. If you can hit the strike zone, if the batter in front of you makes an out on 1 pitch or 2 pitches, or you get 2 quick outs on 3 or 4 pitches, the third hitter up in the inning almost has to take until he gets a strike. And Clay Buchholz took advantage. Just pipe one right down the middle, jump ahead in the count.
Missed a spot that time. It's 1-1.
6 hitters, 6 first pitch strikes.
Good recipe for success. Clay very effective with that cut fastball this season. The changeup has been very good. Another one on the ground to Nick Ahmed. Clay Buchholz in the rocking chair. 6 up, 6 down, holding a 3-0 lead. Pittsburgh. They lead the finale 3-0. Fans, the next holiday game on our schedule is coming up July 4th. Celebrate Independence Day with us at Chase Field. D-backs and Cardinals, a 7 o'clock start, and you will enjoy our post-game fireworks spectacular presented by Gila River Hotels and Casinos. We open up the roof and put on a show. Get your tickets now, dbacks.com.
You know where they're shooting off fireworks today?
England.
Cincinnati.
Huh?
Michael Lorenzen, a pitcher, pinch hit and homered. 2 days in a row the Reds have had a pitcher go deep.
Yeah, DeSclafani had the grand slam yesterday. How about that?
Start hitting their pitchers fourth.
They actually do shoot off the fireworks out of the steamboat thing, right?
Yeah. Sometimes prematurely,
well, but it happens. Ketel Marte hit into a double play his first time up.
I wouldn't dream to steal Gracie's story, so we're going to ask him about it when we get back home. Tremendous story about the fireworks and the pitcher giving up home runs, and the pitching coach made a trip to the mound. I'll let Gracie tell it because it's a wonderful story. So there's a teaser for about a week.
We got plenty of time to work out the details. Gracie can tell some stories.
Oh yeah.
Mark Grace story time all over again. 1-2. There's another fastball up. Williams keeps sticking with that plan that worked so well for him his last time out. Brewers were up there looking for sinkers down, and Williams was elevating that four-seamer up and then pitching off that with a changeup and had all kinds of success. Missed with that one down low. 2-2. Jake Lamb on deck. He singled and scored his first time. Trevor Williams from San Diego. Second round pick out of ASU by the Marlins in the 2013 draft. Pirates got him from Miami in a trade for a minor leaguer after the 2015 season. And he was arguably their best pitcher down the second half of last year for the Pirates. They expected big things this season. Rodriguez knocks that down at shortstop. Marte 0 for 2. Well, it was hard hit up the middle. Marte nothing to show for it yet today. Lamb single and scored back in the first. Came in on the Peralta home run that bounced into the river. Or right down there somewhere. Pirates have the shift on. Left side of the infield is wide open. Morano's almost behind second base, the third baseman.
Yeah, Jake unintentionally took advantage of this pull shift the other night. He hit a cue shot right off the end of the bat that just dribbled over there to the left side. Moran couldn't make the play on it. He legged it out for an infield hit, and then he hit 3 fly balls 400 feet for outs.
That one is almost through the shift. Harrison makes a terrific play. Williams hustles over there. 4-1 on the putout. 2 down in the third. Here comes David Peralta. This was Peralta in the first, and this one over the seats onto the concourse. It bounced down by the river.
Yeah, took a fastball right down the middle. He missed inside with a fastball, and then a loopy slider that ended up in that hot spot down and in. He golfed it out of here on a hop into the river. Our nationwide vision eye on the game. David Peralta with his 15th bomb, setting a new career high.
He has had a tremendous month of June. And he's had a big series. Fastball misses in. David, 3 bases on balls, 5 hits. Yesterday had an RBI double and an RBI triple. And now today, a 2-run home run. So he's hit safely in 7 straight.
And even a lot of his outs have been hard hit balls, either deep to the outfield or right at infielders.
This is chopped to first. Bell has it. He'll take it himself. 3 ground ball outs for Trevor Williams. D-backs in Pittsburgh have a 3-0 lead. After this one, Valley Toyota Dealers presents Let's Go Places. We're off to Miami, where Shelby Miller makes his 2018 debut tomorrow. 4-game set at Marlins Park. The first 3 are 7:10 Miami start, so 4:10 Arizona time in the afternoon. And then that Thursday getaway day comes your way at 10 in the morning. Clay Buchholz has got 6 outs on 18 pitches so far. 6 up, 6 down. John Murphy needs some sunglasses. John Ryan Murphy. Buchholz has been throwing strikes. 15 of his 18 pitches, to be exact. Josh Bell, the first baseman, leads off the Pittsburgh third. Bell has a pair of singles and an RBI in the series. Batting .243, he's got 4 home runs. They keep waiting for Josh Bell to happen after such a promising rookie season. Last year he was 3rd in the Rookie of the Year voting, 26 home runs, but he's been quiet this season. Ooh, up the middle, that one almost clipped Clay. Ahmed cleans it up.
Well, I personally think Josh Bell will figure it out. He's a pretty good athlete, good hand-eye coordination, had a really good swing last year, but he's going through what a lot of young players go through. The rest of the league has made an adjustment. They found his weaknesses. They go to him a lot more often. He just has to be ready to hit mistakes.
Well, another start for Sean Rodriguez. 149 this year. 0 for 7 in the series with 4 strikeouts. Rodriguez starting at shortstop today, a day off for Jordy Mercer. And Rodriguez in this series has started in left field, second base, and now at short. He had a rough day yesterday. 0 for 4 on his bobblehead day. He struck out twice and made a throwing error that scored a run.
Yeah, and had some real passive at bats, including called out on strikes to end the ball game yesterday. He's swinging into the first 2 pitches he sees from Buchholz today.
Mentioned this in the ball game yesterday. Rodriguez, where he's really struggling, is in these situations. He is 7 for 77 against right-hand pitching this year.
If you watch John Ryan Murphy give the signs to Clay Buchholz today, if you see the 3, that's the sign for the cutter. Because Clay Buchholz doesn't really throw a legit slider. So the 3 is the signal for the cutter. The 1 wiggle is a 2-seam fastball, and the straight 1 is a 4-seam fastball. And there's subtle differences in those 3 different fastballs.
Chased a high breaking ball. Buchholz has retired the first 8 Pirates here today.
Hey fans, the day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
The pitcher, Trevor Williams. It must be hard if you're Clint Hurdle. And in the middle of last month, you were 9 over 500. Suddenly, you're 4 under 500. You've lost 23 of 33. You're down 3-0. You're about to get swept, or maybe get swept. It's got to be hard to avoid that "oh no, here we go again" thing, because that's where this one is headed.
It certainly has all the earmarks of what the Pirates have been doing lately, giving up early runs, making errors on defense, some very non-competitive at bats. Just take one more and get out of town before they figure it out.
It seems to have, as you mentioned, sort of infected every aspect of their game.
Yeah.
I mean, Musgrove was not sharp yesterday. The defense has been very sloppy. They're not hitting at all. They've only got one extra base hit in this series. So it's getting pretty bad here. Here comes CO, and he's got it near the line. Buchholz has retired the first 9. D-backs have a 3-0 lead.
Fourth here in Pittsburgh. Time to take a look at this day in baseball history, brought to you by Geico. A lot of grannies hit yesterday. Jim Northrup back in 1968 actually struck out in the first inning with the bases loaded, but came up in the 5th with the bases loaded and hit a grand slam. Came up in the 6th with the bases loaded and hit a grand slam.
He was a Tiger, right?
Yeah, Tigers beat the Indians, I believe it was 14-3 that day. He had a chance to hit 3 slams in one day.
I like how you tied that into yesterday when there were actually 4 grand slams hit around the majors.
Very nearly 5. Chris Owings only missed by a foot or so out there in right center field with the bases loaded. Turned into a long single.
As timely as today's headlines are, Geico, this day in history, brought to you by the Bob Brenly staff.
I'll alert the fans out there, if you like this day in baseball history and like to see things that have happened in the past, there's a website called nationalpastime.com that lists a couple of dozen this day in baseball histories every day. You can actually personalize it if there's a particular team or a particular player. You can find out what they did on this day in baseball history.
Just check out the www.
Click, click,
Descalso leads off the 4th, and he slices one into left to single to start off the D-back 4th inning. Daniel in at first base today on Goldie's off day. Here's Murphy, who homered his last time up. Those circular walkway rotundas out there in the left field corner of this ballpark, and Murphy took his for a walk.
Wow. Clank. Yeah, those walkways you're talking about out there behind the left field foul pole for the playoffs, they're packed with standing room only fans.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it really is.
That's a foul ball, says Corey Blazer. Yeah, they've had some well, at least one wild card game here. 3. They won 1. Right? Got some Pirates folks here with us.
Yeah.
Don't want to cheat them.
That's one thing fun about going to these parks and watching in the postseason when teams advance into the postseason. We don't always see a full house when we travel around to the various stops, but in the postseason it's going to be filled to the rafters, and this place was for those 3 wild card games.
Well, Pirates fans, after they went 1 for 3, were kind of down on the whole wild card playoff format, but D-backs won theirs last year. I think it works out great because it puts the bigger emphasis on winning your division, which is the way it should be if you're going to have divisions.
And it turns that wild card game into a win or go home, which is always exciting.
Yeah. Kyle Crick has started warming up in the Pirate bullpen. 1-2 on John Ryan Murphy. Just missed down low. 2-2. Chris Owings, the right fielder today, on deck. Third base for Moran. They get 1, and that's all. I remember they had one of the wild card games here against the Giants, and Brandon Crawford came in and hit I think it was a grand slam early in that game. Mad Bum shut him down, and that was it. Owings struck out his first time. CO just missed a grand slam yesterday. The ball high off the wall in right center with the bases full. Settled for a really long RBI single. Only missed it by about a foot or 2 out there.
Your partner talking about the postseason here in Pittsburgh. I actually came to some of the games. I was working in Chicago doing radio for the Cubs, and our season ended quickly.
Those were the old days.
But I was actually living in Cincinnati at the time, so came over here with my brother-in-law and his son. I brought Michael, and we stayed right across the river at a hotel. We played wiffle ball out of Point Park every afternoon before coming over to the ball game. It was a lot of fun.
That's a good call.
That was over at Old Three Rivers before it was demolished, and we had seats out in the right field bleachers. And I remember my son Michael and his cousin yelling at Dave Justice the entire game. Playing right field for the Braves at that time.
It's a great sports town. Of course, the Steelers and the Pirates and the Penguins.
And one thing they've done here in Pittsburgh, all the teams wear the same colors.
Yeah, I remember the Penguins used to be blue and white.
Yeah, you can get away with wearing a Pirates jersey to a Penguins game or a Steelers game. You're going to fit right in.
Owings strikes out for the second time today. 2 down in the 4th. Here's Nick Ahmed. Torey Lovullo playing his best defenders up the middle today. And when thinking about rotating off days for everybody on the roster, days like today, he thinks, yeah, it's hot. It's a long road trip, day game after a night game. That's when things can get a little sloppy out there. And so he's got Ahmed and Marte and Dyson up the middle.
Oh, man.
Speaking of sloppy.
It's been that kind of series for the Pirates and their fans.
That one just beyond the protective netting down there by the tarp. Hopefully everybody's okay. Oh, and 1 on Nick. Tell you what, Williams done a pretty good job settling down after the Murphy homer.
Yeah, we're seeing him mix in some more of those sliders. Tried to go fastball up, sinker down early on. The Diamondbacks were ready for that plan of attack. Now he's starting to mix in some more of his off-speed pitches.
Nick has a pair of doubles in the series. He's got 4 hits on the road trip. Had the home run in Angel Stadium when we started off in LA.
Boy, that seems like a long time ago,
doesn't it? Seems like we've been here a month. Diaz hangs on to the foul tip. We head to the home half of the 4th. D-backs lead the Pirates 3-0. Game of Thrones night coming up at Chase Field. It's set for July 7th. You can get a lower level game ticket and this exclusive Ice Dragon bobblehead, all for only $50 with a special event pack. Now there are limited quantities available on this item, so get on it. Send your Ravens to dbacks.com/GOT Game of Thrones. Lee Buchholz has retired all 9 Pirates he's faced so far. And Josh Harrison, the leadoff man, will lead off the 4th. Clay Buchholz, 9 outs on 30 pitches. Harrison struck out to start it off for the Pirates. Here's a tapper that Lamb will let go. Ahmed takes it. Another 1 pitch out for Buchholz.
Well, he's just throwing that cutter, fastball, changeup, whatever it happens to be. The first pitch. Outstanding strikes on the edges of the strike zone, down low in the zone. The Pirates, as we mentioned earlier, they attack strikes. They're just putting them in play weekly.
Austin Meadows lined out to left his first time up. D-backs overload the right-hand side of the infield. Meadows now with 5 hits in the series. He wasn't called up for the minors until mid-May and was still National League Rookie of the Month last month. That's belted foul in front of Camara Barti at first.
You mentioned Meadows not called up to the middle of May. It reminds me, you're familiar with Kangaroo Court.
Oh, sure, where you make up fines.
Yeah, I mean, the purpose is to point out fundamental mistakes, things you want to correct as a team, and do it in a humorous way and take a couple of bucks from the guy just so he'll remember it. But it also gets a little out of hand at times.
No, I find that hard to believe.
When I was with the Giants, we had a pitcher that was called up from the minor leagues in May, and it happened to be on the day of Kangaroo Court. It was his first day in the major leagues. So
Perfect.
we fined him for not making the team out of spring training.
Well, that seems a little unfair. Those guys aren't making any money. Usually I hear you get fined for wearing the wrong color shirt or forgetting to put on a pair of sunglasses or something. They just make stuff up.
Wearing eye black for a night game. I mean, there's all kinds of different things. Using somebody else's bat in batting practice without asking permission. I mean, there's all kinds of picky little things. And you know, the idea is you build up a little bit of a kitty and you either donate it to charity at the end of the season or have a team party at the end of the season.
Colts gets his 3rd strikeout.
Well, it's all meant to be good fun and the camaraderie and the fellowship in the clubhouse and you know, having a few laughs at your teammates' expense and them laughing at you.
Starling Marte lined out his first time. What were some of your violations? It couldn't have been many, right?
I was one of the judges, so I rarely got fined.
The High Court of Appeals.
And that's the thing. As a player, you could always plead your case. You know, you either plead guilty right away and just pay your fine and move along, or you plead not guilty and hire one of your teammates to be your attorney.
I'm sure there were 1 or 2 instances where that backfired.
Yeah. Anytime you appeal, the fine is then doubled if you're still found guilty. So no appeal ever went through.
Yeah. It's a big risk. Now, is that where the term clubhouse lawyer comes from?
I think that's something a little different, but
what's a clubhouse lawyer?
A clubhouse lawyer is a guy that, you know, maybe he hasn't pitched in a couple of days out of the bullpen, and instead of going to the manager or the pitching coach and saying, hey, I'm ready to go, put me in there, and they go to their teammates and they say, what are they doing? They're ruining me. Don't they know how good I am? You know, they plead their case to their teammates, and that's a clubhouse lawyer for me.
Not a good team chemistry type guy.
No.
1-2 on Marte. And Marte knocks that one fair into the right field corner. Pirates have their first base hit against Buchholz, and just their 2nd extra base hit in this series. Both of them Marte doubles.
Well, that stands to reason right now. Starling Marte is undoubtedly the best player in this Pirates lineup. He's dangerous from foul line to foul line, as he just proved right here. Took a big loopy breaking ball from Clay Buchholz and lines it down that right field line for a double.
RBI chance for Colin Moran, the 3rd baseman. Buchholz has thrown 40 pitches, 32 of them for strikes. Just foul at first.
And very few of those strikes in the middle of the plate. As we've documented, he's working the corners, working down, occasionally elevating with that fastball. Just keep it out of the middle.
Marte at 2nd as well, back on the outfield grass. Ahmed just on the first base side of 2nd. Jake Lamb near the bag at third. Tied him up inside. Yes, he went, says Gary Cederstrom, and it's 0-2.
And you're always a little concerned after a pitcher gives up his first base runner of the game and goes into that stretch position, but so far so good for Clay Buchholz. Just continues to pound away at the corners of the strike zone.
He retired the first 11 Pirates he faced until that Marte double, with 2 outs here in the 4th. Now ahead of Moran, 0-2. This missed in, a ball and 2 strikes. Took something off and got the strikeout. That's his 4th. He strands the 2-out double. It stays 3-0 D-backs. As they go for the 4-game sweep in Pittsburgh. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. We fly to Miami after this one, first of 4 at Marlins Park tomorrow when Shelby Miller makes his 2018 debut. D-backs live pregame show at 3:30 in the afternoon. Zach Godley, Patrick Corbin, Zach Greinke, the 4 D-back starters in that series. 4 are finally back home. Marlins have not named a starter for Tuesday against Godley. I almost hate to bring this up, but have you seen what the Dodgers are doing to the Mets?
Yes, I did.
Oh, my goodness. The first 2 Dodger batters hit home runs against Jerry Blevins, who started the game for the Mets. It was a bullpen game, still is. And the Dodgers' first 5 hits in that game were home runs. But they only lead by 1. It's 5-4 LA. They're in the 7th inning at Citi Field.
Yeah, Austin Barnes has the only non-homer for the Dodgers today. He got a single, and as I said, between innings, he'll probably get fined in kangaroo court for hitting a single.
Should. Well, Williams has really settled down. He has now struck out 3 in a row and 5 for the ball game.
Yeah, Kike Hernandez with 2. Max Muncy with number 15.
Max Muncy.
Yeah, Cody Bellinger with number 14 and Jock Peterson with number 10.
Rockies are home against the Marlins again. Caleb Smith and Herman Marquez. Giants host the Padres. Eric Lauer against Derek Rodriguez in that one. Dyson is singled and grounded out, 1 for 2.
The Padres had some travel issues this morning in San Francisco.
That was funny.
Yeah, the team bus didn't show up to take the team from the hotel over to the ballpark, so the traveling secretary flagged down one of those double-decker buses, made a deal with the driver to take the team over to the ballpark, so they got to ride over in a double-decker.
They had a detour along the way as well. There was a parade that they got to take part in. So kind of a crazy day.
I tell you, that's something we don't point out often enough, how important a traveling secretary is to a major league ball club.
We are in such good shape with Roger Riley's hands.
I mean, when you think about it, you've got to transport 50 to 70 people depending on the trip.
This is poked down the line. Dickerson. 2 outs.
You got to have hotel rooms and buses, and occasionally players require rental cars or extra rooms for family. You're on an airplane every 3 days all summer long.
Everybody needs tickets.
Yeah.
And Roger is the best in the business. Ketel Marte 0 for 2.
All you have to do is be with the team that has a bad traveling secretary to realize how important a good one is. When you land in wherever, pick a city, Atlanta at 2 o'clock in the morning, and where are the buses? There's no buses here. Oh boy. Get to the hotel and concierge says, what are you doing here? We don't have you coming in till tomorrow. We have no rooms available.
Right back to the mound. Williams works a 1-2-3 5th. He's retired 5 in a row, but the D-backs have a 3-0 lead. Ruth Buzzy of pierogies. Nobody will get that reference. In the orange hat out front. Now this girl pierogi with the purse. Hannah, the Ruth Buzzy of pierogies. Wow. Whacks everybody with the purse and wins every time. This has happened every day we've been here. Bert nipped at the wire by the cheating pierogi.
Yeah, she can use that purse to get to the finish line a lot quicker than Bert or any of the other pierogies. That's not fair.
How many think people got the Ruth Buzzy reference?
Well, if you had said sock it to me, then yeah, absolutely.
Right out of laughing. Yeah. Circa 1971.
Yeah. There's Artie Johnson's out there in the hedgerow
with his helmet on. What do you got?
Well, I don't know. You just took me down a Goldie Hawn wormhole, but I'll get back. Listen,
steady,
guys.
Steady, mate.
Listen, I apologize for showing up so late, but I overextended myself and went beyond my
pitch
limit on the non-rain delay, rain delay.
So you're down today?
Yes, not available in the ninth.
Marte at second.
He's in the red or the blue, whatever the color.
Yeah, you're light green today.
All my colors aren't working. I'm hazel, actually. So can I just do kind of a rapid fire? All the stories that I would have had for you in game if it was a normal situation.
Like a Reader's Digest.
Just cliff notes.
All right.
Braden Shipley, I'm sure you talked about, is here.
Yep.
Jake Brent is down. Shipley had to fly through the night. His flight from Vegas didn't leave till 1:45. It was delayed. Got on the ground at about 8:45, so he's available if the rains that they were so fearful of ever come.
Yeah.
Torey,
they don't flood the mound again.
Or there's that bit of a cover-up. Pardon the pun.
Nice.
Thank you. Jeff Mathis confirmed will catch Shelby Miller tomorrow in Miami. And I think you heard that dialogue with Torey Lovella before the game about just some of the decisions that he'll have to make moving forward in terms of, Bob, as you just had the catcher's rotation.
There's Braden Shipley down there in the bullpen.
And we did hear from Shelby Miller on the pregame show that was supposed to run and will still run again on the postgame show. I talked to him.
Your interview was like a scene out of All the President's Men. Follow the money.
Follow the money, yes.
Here, you do that in the parking garage?
Well, you know, there was so much going on out in the field. There was a little pregame Q&A with the Pirates fans and some of their broadcasters and Ray Searage. And it was sort of air conditioned, sort of.
You know what else took place in that room?
I don't know if I want to know, but
back in the day, our backup catcher Mike DeFelice got in a little bit of trouble here in Pittsburgh.
Remember it well.
We had to fly in Rod Barajas from Tucson, so we had a backup catcher just in case we couldn't bail him out in time for the game.
Literally.
What? And Rod was sitting in that room right there.
In the pillbox.
You know, because technically we weren't allowed to have him in the clubhouse yet. He wasn't officially on the roster. We didn't know if we were going to need him on the roster, so Rod had to hide in there with the mops and the brooms.
Now I know why you guys wouldn't let me wander down there. 2001 circa.
There's Josh Bell. That one will get through into right center. Just the second hit for the Pirates.
I do want to say this, though. You guys touched on it after we ran the entire pregame press availability for Torey.
Yeah, nice job with that. We had to fill a half hour because all the
without commercial interruption.
How about that?
Cool. But I really am glad that fans got a chance to, if you were watching, see that and sense it, as you touched on, because Torey is just one of the most affable figures I've ever been around covering Major League Baseball, and so accessible and so candid, but also very protective. And I think he has a nice blend of both, and does it in a way that we're very lucky. It's not always the case. Pittsburgh comes to mind.
Wow. There's a shot across the bow.
I'll take another one if I feel like it. I was glad we were able to actually let that out there and let fans just get a sense of what it's like for us on a day-to-day basis. I know you guys meet with him privately as well.
It is. The funny thing is, we'll be in there with the door closed, and then, you know, Torey's very generous with his time. Sometimes we'll get 15-20 minutes, and we'll talk about baseball maybe half the time.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. And you're right. He's an incredibly personable guy. He really relates to people, and I think that's one of the things that makes him such a great manager.
And everyone on their own level and in their own universe, so to speak.
And he wants to know about you. He wants to know what's going on with you. Things about your life and people. He wants to make that connection.
Oh, yeah. There have been times after a pregame show on the road, I have to walk through that dugout to get up here to hide with you guys. He'll make a reference to the show that just aired from his office.
He has some notes for you.
Just letting me know how far off the mark I really am.
Gregory Polanco is in the on-deck circle. Pitcher spawn is up next. 0-2 on Rodriguez. He strikes out again. Boy, Clay Buchholz has been today as good as we've seen. He leads it 3-0.
Hats off for heroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
Ah, yes, the Monongahela, Allegheny, and Ohio rivers. A great day to be out on the water here in Pittsburgh. D-backs have a 3-0 lead, trying to get the 4-game sweep here at PNC Park before we head off to Miami after this one. Beautiful day here after a half-hour delay to start. There was a cloud somewhere nearby. But you can see blue skies overhead. Jake Lamb leads off the 6th against Trevor Williams, who's back out there. They had the pinch hitter in the on-deck circle ready to bat for him, but Rodriguez made the final out, so Williams goes back out there. And he's done a very nice job settling down after a bumpy start. Dyson singled to lead off the ball game. He was erased on a double play ball. Then Jake Lamb singled, came home on the David Peralta 2-run homer. And Murphy led off the 2nd with a solo homer, and Williams since then has given up only 1 hit. Left side of the infield is wide open for Jake. He hits it into the shift, backhanded by Bell. Williams covers, and that's the first out in the 6th. Peralta's homer in the 1st, his 15th of the year. It one-hopped the concourse out there in right center and bounced down into the river.
It's probably in the belly of a catfish by now.
In there with some license plates and stuff. Have you ever dropped a line into one of these rivers around here?
One of my staff did last year, as a matter of fact, right across the base of the Clemente Bridge over there. He said
really?
He caught a couple of little ones. Yeah.
But they are city river fish, right? They're tough.
Throw them back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a plan when I was working with the Cubs. I was going to take a trip with Tom Otis, Helm, and the clubby for the Cubs. Just upriver a little ways, less than a mile, you can rent kayaks. And if you go even farther up or down river, whatever that is, there's a little sandbar, and there's a pub on the sandbar. So we were going to go fishing in the kayaks, end up there for lunch, and then fish on our way back.
That would have been a great broadcast that night.
Believe it or not, it rained that day.
No.
Yeah, so we didn't go.
Bummer. I thought you were going to say maybe you were scared off of your inner city fishing expeditions after what happened in Washington, D.C.
Well, that's a whole nother story.
Are you allowed to talk about that?
That involved 3 different states and the federal police.
Foul ground, nobody can get there. You have to have the proper documentation to be able to do that.
Well, and the particular area that we were fishing there, it's like 3 states come together in the middle of the water. So I guess you have to have all 3 states fishing license, and we neglected to pick up any of them.
Bureaucratic boondoggle.
And we got harassed by the federal police.
The feds. You don't expect the feds to show up when you're fishing.
But I escaped.
That was not true, however, for everyone in your party,
No,
from what I understand.
Yeah, they got caught. They didn't have fishing licenses.
You were hiding in the bushes?
I had shoved my fishing pole down the leg of my pants and was walking stiff-legged down the hiking path.
What's wrong with that guy?
And I got away.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. And once they found out that we all worked for the Cubs and we knew Lou Piniella, that we were golden after that. Or they were golden. I was long gone.
Daniel Descalso, clean getaway.
Yeah, that poor guy, he's got a bum leg. Look at how he's walking.
Can't arrest that guy. Williams has retired 7 straight. He's got 6 strikeouts in the ball game.
That's why I started to bring my guitar more and more often on the road trips. Nobody's arrested me in the room for playing the guitar yet.
In the air for Dickerson. Left field. Bottom 6th in Pittsburgh. D-backs lead the Pirates 3-0. With Clay Buchholz, who has been nothing short of sensational here today, but Andrew Chafin has come on to start the bottom of the 6th inning. Buchholz was only at about 50 pitches or so through 5 innings. He was rolling, but here's Chafin to start the 6th.
A little bit of a head scratcher, but nonetheless, Andrew Chafin going to take over right here and immediately face a pinch hitter. Looks like Jose Osuna will take the at bat for Trevor Williams. Boy, Buck was just outstanding today. Tremendous command. Everything down on the edges. Change speeds.
He retired the first 11 batters he faced, went 5 scoreless and gave up only 2 hits without a walk. Struck out 5, but that's it after 5 for Buchholz. So we'll try and see if there's any injury news on Clay, because he looked as good as we've seen him, which is saying something. So Chafin on to start the 6th. Osuna will hit for the pitcher Williams.
Well, we've seen a little spike in velocity recently from Andrew Chafin. He's been hitting 95, 96 on occasion, pitching consistently 92, 93.
Buchholz threw 53 pitches in the game, 42 strikes, but he's out after 53. So hopefully he's okay. Chafin ahead of Osuna 0-2. Osuna hitless in the series. He has started games at first base and at third. This is out to Chris Owings in right field. Josh Harrison 0 for 2, the leadoff man. Harrison is stuck in a 2 for 23 skid for the moment. He's hitless in the series. Just under 270 on the year. D-backs will put the shift on the left-hand side.
Well, you look at this series, partner, and Zach Godley walked 3 in the first game of the series, but in each start since then, the starter has not allowed a base on balls. Patrick Corbin went 7 innings, didn't walk a batter. Zach Greinke 6 innings, didn't walk a batter. And Clay Buchholz 5 innings today, and he didn't walk a batter.
Pitching and defense. It's going to keep this ball club in it right to the end. Well, you're right, Bob. Chafin, really good velocity here. That fastball slider combo, 1 and 2. Zach Buchanan was writing on the Athletic website the other day about a tweak that Mike Butcher made in Chafin's delivery. And it really seemed to have worked out well. Just misses in with a fastball. So Andrew a little smoother in his mechanic. There's Mike Butcher, D-backs pitching coach. Looks like that mustache may be making its way back as well. That is a fair ball. Shoots it down the line. It caroms off the seats out there. Harrison will get a double.
The Diamondbacks have been very fortunate to keep Harrison quiet in this series, but he goes down and golfs a slider into that left field corner. It hits the facing of the bleachers and ricochets back toward the infield, ensuring that Josh Harrison was going to end up with a double.
So a 1-out base runner for Starling Marte, who doubled his last time up. Or pardon me, Austin Meadows. He's 0 for 2. Marte has one of the other 2 hits for the Pirates. The other was a Josh Bell single in the 5th. Meadows was 0 for 4 batting leadoff yesterday. Hitless so far today. Couldn't check the fastball in. 0-1. Pirates bullpen has been busy for a while now. Clay Holmes, the right-hander, and Brault, the lefty. Chafin, before they made that tweak, he'd come in, the first 2-3 pitches might be balls, but he is much more accurate now. Out there throwing strikes much more consistently.
And it appears he's not just trying to hit the strike zone, he's trying to hit the corners. Yeah, I mean, everything's been much better. Slider's been tight and sharp and late, and most of the time he's kept it out of the dirt.
Got that one in on the hands. Meadows is a guy for a rookie who hits lefties pretty well. He's about .440 versus lefties. Hard to do much better than that. Harrison at second, 1 out. 0-2 on Austin Meadows.
There's a slider in the dirt, but that's what he intended to do. Ahead in the count, 0-2. You hope to get the young Meadows to chase something out of the zone. It's a whole different story when you're throwing the ball in the dirt because you want to, as opposed to you can't help it.
And oftentimes, as you point out, we'll see that catcher bang as the catcher's been on the ground. Throw it down here. And Chafin was saying earlier this year he was getting quite frustrated the way things were going. Wasn't playing out the way he wanted it. Had a little bit of a timing issue in his delivery. Mike Butcher thought there was something with that front shoulder that they corrected. And it's really improved his command. Good one right there, and Meadows strikes out.
Those mechanical tweaks we talk about, they apply to hitters as well. Hitting coaches, you know, will stand around the cage and talk to guys about this, that, and the other thing. Raise your elbow, get into a little more of a crouch, widen your stance, whatever it may happen to be. The bottom line is it's more psychological than anything else.
Really?
I mean, there are mechanical issues occasionally that will get you out of sorts. But for the most part, you know, if you have confidence in what you're doing and your pitching coach or your hitting coach says, oh, that was the problem, we've got it fixed now. Oh, okay, I'm fixed. Let's go get him. I mean, you've been around the batting cage. You hear the hitting coach all the time hanging on the back of that net. There you go. That's the one.
Yep.
It's just all meant to build up the confidence in that hitter before the ball game even starts.
Well, Salas, who's been very tough on right-hand batters this year, will start to get it cranked up. Starling Marte is the hitter with Harrison in second and 2 outs. Well, Butch was saying about Andrew, quite honestly, he's throwing as good now as Butch has ever seen him throw. And he has been pretty solid against lefties and righties. So they've got Salas up, but they'll let Chafin face Marte here. He doubled his last time up against Clay Buchholz. Just missed at 95, down and away. Can't lay off the fastball out there. It's a ball and a strike.
You know, a lot of the swings and a lot of the effort we're seeing from the Pirates at the plate look very familiar. The Diamondbacks were doing it in June. A lot of check swings, a lot of feeble Haxit pitches. They're not quite sure they want to swing or not. That indecision.
We are told that Clay Buchholz was pulled from the ball game with left side tightness. And so that's the reason he had to come out after 5 when he was just outstanding. So they have to dip into the bullpen here unexpectedly. 2 balls and a strike on Starling Marte. Keeping that slider down. Marte went down with a right oblique strain in the middle of last month. He missed about 10 days. And he was hitting over 300 for the season when he got hurt. But since he's come back and it's been just over a month, he's hit just about 210. So they have missed his bat. Bounces another one up there. Full count, 3-2. Left-hand batting Colin Moran is on deck. That one almost got Joey Cora coaching at third. So it's tightness in his left side for Clay Buchholz.
Well, we knew it wasn't a pitch count issue because he was about as efficient as you can possibly be today.
And it was basically 10 pitches per inning for 5 innings. So Chafin trying to get through the 6th and strand that one out double. Full count, 3-2. Here it is. Called strike 3, a fastball inside. The Sheriff gets us to the 7th with a 3-0 lead. Can't watch the D-backs on TV. You can stream all the games live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. It's brought to you locally by your Valley Honda dealers. Download the app for free. Take Fox Sports Arizona and your D-backs with you wherever you go. New pitcher for the Pirates, the right-hander, making just his second major league appearance out of Slocum, Alabama. 6'5", 230. It's Clay Holmes. His numbers at AAA Indianapolis this year.
He's been a starter throughout most of his minor league career. 97 of his 99 games were as a starter coming into this season.
His only previous major league appearance was earlier this year. He threw 2 innings in relief April 6th against the Reds.
Out of Slocum High School in Alabama, was the valedictorian of his senior class.
Oh, wow.
Perfect 4.0 grade point average.
9th round pick out of high school back in 2011. Well, Andrew Chafin looked real good. Yes, it's to the 7th inning. John Ryan Murphy leads it off. He homered in the second, his 9th of the year. Pirates have been running through some bullpen guys. Holmes was just called up before the game today.
Now, Michael Feliz, who threw 2 innings in the ball game last night, was placed on the disabled list with right shoulder discomfort to make room for Clay Holmes on the Pirates roster.
He's a hard thrower. 96 in on the hands, and it's 1-2. Murphy with the sunglasses on. Fastball misses low at 97. Chris Owings on deck. Tell you what, we've had a lot of miserable weather here so far, but after our brief delay to start this one, this is postcard stuff here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it really is.
John Ryan reaches out and pokes it foul down the right field line. You've got very little cloud cover overhead right now. There's a gentle breeze blowing out to left center field over the bullpens. Boats going up and down the river. Had it looked like a 10K or a bike race or something going on in downtown Pittsburgh this morning outside the hotel.
I think it's just something the city of Pittsburgh does. I was talking to a police officer that was out by the team bus.
Oh, trouble again?
No, no trouble.
Oh, all right.
No trouble. But they block off streets in the downtown area, and pedestrians and bikes and all kinds of transportation on the streets, and they would stop the traffic and allow the bikes to go through, and they say they just want people to experience downtown Pittsburgh. Oh, look out.
John Ryan has to duck out of the way of that one. Thank goodness that didn't hit him. A fastball up and in.
He might have got a piece of his jersey, possibly, or maybe just ball 4. That one looked like it was headed right for his chin.
Yes, a 3-2 pitch.
Ooh, wow.
All right. And don't forget, you got, before we start screaming about the Pirates and the way they pitch inside, you've got a rookie making just his second career major league appearance, so let's not go overboard here. So Murphy walks to lead off the 7th. CO is 0 for 2, couple of strikeouts. That is the first walk in the ball game for either side. Salas was warming up earlier for the D-backs. Now it's Yoshi Hirano down there. Pirates in the 7th will have Moran, Dickerson, and Diaz due up 4, 5, and 6. Clay Holmes In AAA this year, 71 strikeouts in 66 innings. On the ground right to Harrison. Rodriguez for one, and they turn the double play. Second double play turned by the Pirates infield here today. 2 down. Here's Nick Ahmed. D-backs winners of 11 of their last 15 games. And going for their first 4-game series sweep since they took all 4 in Philly just over 2 years ago. Nice easy hop for Moran at third. We stretch at PNC Park. D-backs lead the Pirates 3-0. Right here in Pittsburgh.
Some pipes.
Big time. 7th inning stretch at PNC Park. That is operatic, if that's a word. She should be wearing a Viking costume. You know how they do that, like in the Bugs Bunny cartoon?
With the horns and the whole deal.
Yeah. Andrew Chafin back out there to start the bottom of the 7th inning. Hey fans, secure your seats now for next month's NL West Showdown. D-backs and the Rockies, July 20th through the 22nd. July 21st, Jake Lamb bobblehead day. That's courtesy of Arizona Milk Producers. And July 22nd is D-Baxter's birthday, presented by PetSmart. Baxter has a birthday coming up, July 22. So visit dbacks.com. That'll be a big series, Rockies and the D-backs in July at Chase Field. Jake Lamb deserves a really good bobblehead after,
He took a year's worth of abuse for that one with the livestock on it.
Not unjustifiably. You got a really good one going this year, though. We've got left-handers leading off the Pittsburgh 7th, Moran and Dickerson. Hirano is ready in the bullpen. The right-hander Diaz, the catcher, behind them. So Chafin, who threw a whole bunch of pitches in the 6th and looked good, had a couple of strikeouts, is out to start the 7th. And here comes the third baseman, Moran.
Yeah, we were talking about it last inning, and Nick Pecora has tweeted it out.
Yeah.
The D-backs rotation in this 4-game series, 24 innings pitched, 11 hits, 2 earned runs, 29 strikeouts, and only 3 walks, and all those came in the first game by Zach Godley.
Good job, Nick. Nothing from Steve Gilbert, though, huh? No, that figures. Colin Moran singled in Thursday's opener. That's his only hit in the series. Glenn Hurdle not too long ago moved Moran, who's just a rookie, from 7th in the batting order up into the cleanup spot against right-handers. He's in there now against a lefty. And it's worked out pretty well so far with Moran batting 4th. They dropped Josh Bell down a bit. And Moran has done okay. He's about .240 versus left-handers this year. Still qualifies as a rookie despite limited games with the Astros over the previous 2 seasons. Moran came over along with Joe Musgrove for the Garrett Cole deal during the winter. Chafin ahead of ball and 2 strikes. D-backs have the overshift on the right-hand side. Lays off a fastball away, and it's 2-2. Corey Dickerson on deck. Swing and a miss. Third strikeout in a row for Chafin. That brings up Dickerson.
Boy, we talk about Patrick Corbin pitching with good body language. Andrew Chafin really feeling it out there on the mound today. Take a look at the pitch by pitch right there to Colin Moran. Missed in the slider in the dirt right there. Just paints the outside corner at the knees with back-to-back pitches. Scoots that one a little bit farther off the corner, hoping to get the swing and a miss, and then throws a slider for a strike. Our nationwide vision eye on the game. Nice job by Andrew Chafin.
Well, this is a big one to get right here in Dickerson, who was grounded out twice today. 0 for 2. Clay Buchholz was simply sensational through 5, but had to leave the game with left side tightness. So Chafin on his 2nd inning of work. A high fastball's in there. 0-1. And boy, Corey Blazer is hearing it from the Pittsburgh dugout. They are all over him.
I can't believe I'm even going to say this, but Corey Blazer's had a pretty good strike zone today. There haven't been many egregious misses.
That one showed up as a strike on the computer. Look out. Boy, that fastball right down the pipe. Chafin ahead 0-2. Now Dickerson is a guy that is hitting this year over .320 against lefties. He can handle himself up there. Not on that occasion, however.
We saw David Freese do that a couple times the other night. Swing and miss and let that bat go whirly birding down that third base line.
Another reason to have that protective netting up, extending to both dugouts here, as they have in all 30 major league parks. 0-2. Called strike 3. Maybe looking for the slider, and he got the fastball. Chafin has punched out 4 in a row, and boy, has he looked good.
I talked about the indecision among the Pirate hitters. Corey Dickerson's a real good fastball hitter. He takes one up in the zone, he swings through one and loses his bat, and then takes another one. Just high to low that time. Our nationwide vision eye on the game carved him up.
Now Torey Lovullo has his right-hander Yoshi Hirano ready. He'll check in with Corey Blazer, and they'll switch Hirano into the game. Back from Pittsburgh after this. Hirano. Yoshi's 37th appearance of the year, and what a streak he's been on. 21 consecutive scoreless games. The longest streak by a D-backs rookie and the longest active scoreless streak in the major leagues. Chafin was outstanding. John Jay takes over in right field, replacing Chris Owings. So Jay will bat 9th, pitcher spot now 7 for the D-backs.
Yeah, we last saw Yoshi in relief of Patrick Corbin the other night. Patrick went 7 innings, a shutout baseball. Hirano came in. He did walk one batter, but got a double play ball. Otherwise, a clean inning.
The catcher, Elias Diaz, 0 for 2. Bases empty, 2 down in the 7th. D-backs lead at 3-0. Boy, I couldn't agree with you more about Andrew Chafin and the body language.
Yeah.
You could see he's got a whole new thing going on out there. Just looked a lot more confident, pounding away with mid-90s fastballs, good sliders down. Just foul down the left field line. Diaz didn't miss by much. Diaz got the start behind the plate yesterday, had a couple of singles and scored a run. Yoshi ahead of ball and 2 strikes. Spikes a splitter, 2-2. Josh Bell would be next. After this game, we fly to Miami to start a 4-game series against the Marlins. Right now, the Marlins are in Colorado, where they're in a rain delay to start. So Miami is going to start awfully late, play a Coors Field game against the Rockies, then fly all the way back home, East Coast, to take on the D-backs tomorrow. They should be fresh as daisies for the opener tomorrow night.
Well, you know what I always say, take your breaks where you get them. Yeah. Mother Nature raining on them in Colorado.
Jake Lamb in front of Ahmed. D-backs bullpen, 3 outs in the 7th. 8th inning on the way. They lead it 3-0. lead at 3-0. Fans, the Boys and Girls Clubs of Metro Phoenix offer summer day camp programs at all 13 locations to give youth and teens an adventurous, active, and healthy summer. These programs operate 5 days a week to enrich kids with academic success, healthy choices, and fun experiences. For more information, contact your nearest club or visit www.bgcmp.org. John Jay just double switched into the ball game, taking over in right field, leads off the 8th. Tapper back to the mound, and Holmes has a quick out.
That's a rarity, isn't it? Quick at bat for John Jay. Normally he sees 6 or 7 or 8 pitches and either walks or gets on base somehow.
Here's a young Goldie fan here in Pittsburgh. He must be a D-back little leaguer. Look at that jersey.
Yeah. Well, we mentioned it throughout the first 3 games this series. We've seen a lot of Diamondbacks fans here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, walking around wearing D-backs jerseys. You see him downtown. You see him over here by the ballpark. There's a whole bunch. Good snacks.
Yeah, they get pretty good chow here at PNC Park, depending on what you're interested in, but they've got a little bit of everything.
That one really got Diaz. Get him on the finger or the leg?
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Oh my. Just give it a couple minutes. It'll be all right.
Clay Holmes out there for his 2nd inning of relief. Kept that pitch down low. 1-2 on Dyson.
Certainly don't mean to make light of what just happened behind the plate to Mr. Diaz, but if you want to have some fun with similar types of things, YouTube Mark Littell Protective Cup. Check that out. Mark Littell, Littell.
Is there something in particular we should be looking for?
Well, he came up with a new design for a particular piece of equipment that catchers rely upon heavily, and demonstrates it, and is willing to take 90-mile-an-hour fastballs from a pitching machine from 6 feet away to prove the effectiveness of his new piece of equipment.
3-2 on Dyson. Bell backhands it at first. 2 outs. Sounds like a Super Dave Osborne kind of stuff.
A little bit like that, yeah. All he needs is a cape with stars and stripes on it.
Ketel Marte has grounded out 3 times. Ketel had the game-winning 2-out RBI hit in the 13th inning Friday night. He's got 3 hits in the series. Homered here on Thursday. Once more right back to the mound. Nice quick inning for Holmes. Bottom 8 in Pittsburgh. 3-0 Diamondbacks. Bottom of the 8th inning. Fans Wednesday, the celebration of the D-backs 20th anniversary continues as Fox Sports Arizona brings you a brand new show on the D-backs defense over the years. It's hosted by Gracie. It's He Caught the Baseball, and it debuts Wednesday after the D-backs and Marlins right here on Fox Sports AZ. Yoshi Hirano back out there. Here's Josh Bell. Got a fastball up and fouled it back. Switch hitting first baseman. Bell with one of the 3 Pittsburgh hits in the game. He singled in the 5th, 1 for 2.
Yeah, between innings, Perry Hill, the first base coach for the Miami Marlins, tweeted out a picture of Coors Field where it was absolutely pouring down rain and hailing.
And the Marlins are going to get in awfully late tonight as they get set to take on the D-backs for the first of 4 tomorrow. Shelby Miller makes his 2018 debut. We'll have it for you here. D-backs live pregame show at 3:30 in the afternoon. It's a 7:10 Miami start, 4:10 back home. 1-2 on Bell. He's got a base hit into center. He's 2 for 3. This one's not in the books yet. 3-0 in the 8th. Here's Rodriguez, who has struck out twice, 0 for 2. Rodriguez is 0 for 9 in the series with 6 strikeouts. Pitcher spot is up next. Gregory Polanco in the on-deck circle. Edgar Santana warming up in the Pirate bullpen. D-backs bullpen is quiet. Double play ball right here. Ahmed, Marte, and they roll it. And Sean Rodriguez is having a tough series here, and the Bluebirds are out in Pittsburgh.
I mentioned he seemed to be a little bit too passive in his previous games in this series. Today, maybe a little overly aggressive. He's been swinging at the first or second pitch every at bat, a couple of punch outs, and now a double play.
And now Polanco will hit for the pitcher Holmes. Gregory Polanco having something of a disappointing year. 215, does have 9 home runs. A lot of talk and a lot written about in the Pittsburgh papers around here about what they're going to do with the Pirates. Do they start selling off some pieces and bringing up some young guys? And there's a lot of discussion that, you know, Polanco looked like he might be a potential MVP player a few years ago, and now they think, well, maybe he's just kind of a guy who's going to get hot for a while and then slump and then sort of level off, and maybe he'll be a little bit of a streaky player and not quite the player they thought he might be.
Well, he's always had a long loop in his swing, and we talked about it at the first game of this series. You can pound him inside with good fastballs, and he just can't quite get to him because of his long arms and that long loopy swing. Now, out over the plate, balls that he can reach out there and drive, he's much more effective. But the league has found the hole.
I mean, he's a very good defender. He can run well. He's got power. He's got all the tools. The sky to center. Dyson's under it. Yoshi Hirano, a scoreless 8th inning. 9th inning from Pittsburgh. 3-0 D-backs. 5 scoreless innings, but had to leave after 5 with tightness in his left side. The bullpen has been outstanding. Chafin and Hirano. D-backs had the early lead. A 2-run homer by Peralta in the first. A solo shot by Murphy in the second. That's been enough offense so far as they look to close out a 4-game sweep here in Pittsburgh. Jake Lamb, David Peralta, Daniel Descalso due up 3, 4, and 5 at the D-back 9th inning. New pitcher for the Pirates is the right-hander Edgar Santana.
Big time strike thrower in 31 2/3 innings, 26 strikeouts, only 4 base on balls for Edgar Santana. We saw him in game 2 of this series. Gave up a couple of hits and an unearned run in his inning of work.
Brad Boxberger starts to get loose in the D-back bullpen. Pirates in the home half of the 9th will have the top of the order due up. Harrison, Meadows, Marte. Pirates will put the shift on for Lamb. Jake Singleton scored in the first. He's 1 for 3. They leave that left side of the infield wide open. And Jake belts it up the middle. Leadoff single for Lamb. That's his 5th hit in the series. He's hit the ball hard all week here.
Starting to get it going a little bit. Jake's timing was just a little bit off in that last homestand. Wasn't getting that front foot down quickly enough. But in this series, with each passing at bat, he's getting closer and closer to lighten it up.
You can tell. Peralta hit one that bounced almost into the river for his 15th homer of the year back in the first. David now with a 7-game hitting streak. Slices this one the other way, headed toward foul ground. Who's got it?
See, that's a nice D-backs fan right there. Nicely done, sir.
And he gives it to a youngster wearing a Pirate shirt. How about that? Got the old school D-back purple going. Nice job.
Could be a relative of Colin Moran.
Or Archie Bradley. Got the whole purple look going, hat and shirt. That looks good. Santana threw a wild one there. 2 balls and 2 strikes on David Peralta. Descalso, the on-deck hitter. Dave McKay coaching in first. Slowly hit to second. Harrison settles for 1. And Lamb's in scoring position for Descalso with 1 out. D-backs offense has been fairly quiet today. They got a great start. 3 hits, including the home run in the first. Murphy led off the second with a homer, and since then they've only had 2 hits. A single by Descalso in the 4th and Lamb here in the 9th.
We've seen it happen a few times this year where the Diamondbacks go out and attack that starting pitcher for the other team, and then once that bullpen door opens up, the offense kind of disappears. But we did some damage early against Trevor Williams today.
Well, a chance to tack on a run, at least one here. Fastball misses away. Descalso in at first base today. Goldie's off day. He singled in the 4th inning, 1 for 3. Dodgers and Mets have gone to extra innings at Citi Field in New York. It's 7-7 in the 10th. Padres have a 1-0 lead at San Francisco. The Rockies hosting the Marlins. That game is in a rain delay. They haven't started yet. Giancarlo Stanton for the Yankees just hit an 8th inning homer in Tampa Bay to tie that game at 6-6. They're in the 9th. Yankees and Rays.
At San Diego San Francisco game, Manuel Margot led off the game with a home run against Derek Rodriguez.
Well, he was just excited to ride the double-decker bus to get to the ballpark.
And how about the Cincinnati Redlegs? Took a 4-game series from the Cubbies.
Boy, oh boy. Some fine young youths on that team.
Fine young man.
Outstanding citizens of Ohio. One and two on Descalso. What's interesting about the Cubbies, I'm not sure what to make of them yet exactly. They're right there, right behind Milwaukee. But they've been a little up and down this year, the Cubs.
Yeah, at times they look like the team the Cubs expected to be this year, putting big runs on the board, getting good starts from John Lester. Other times they misfire a little bit. It happens.
2-2. Deep work and Descalso away with those fastballs. Boxberger ready in the D-back bullpen. Again, away with a fastball at 96.
Just keep wasting the tough ones, fouling off those pitchers' pitches until eventually Santana might make a mistake over the heart of the plate, and Daniel will be ready to jump on it.
Good take right there. Full count, 3-2.
And Santana has not thrown many pitches where Diaz has put the target. And that's something we used to ask our advanced scouts. It's a tough thing to do when you're sitting behind home plate, but not only what pitch was hit, but where was the catcher set up? Was it supposed to be in and the pitch straight out over the plate? Was it supposed to be away and he threw it inside? If pitcher's not hitting his spots, sometimes you're better off seeing where the catcher sets up than where the pitch ends up. We'll have some touches here. Shin guard, chest protector, mask, and then some finger signs on top of it. It all means something to Santana.
got him with a breaking ball down low.
Probably the best pitch he threw the entire at bat right there.
Might have been a hard changeup. Here's Murphy, who has walked and homered. Lamb at second, 2 outs. Look out. That's in the Pittsburgh dugout. One and one. Diaz and Santana having trouble getting together. This is Sky to left center field. Marte over there. And Lamb is stranded at second. Brad Boxberger will work the ninth with a 3-0 lead. And Brad Boxberger is on to nail it down, the closer, who had a difficult outing here Friday night when he walked the first 2 batters he faced, but later in that appearance in the 11th inning got 2 big outs with the bases loaded after a throwing error and was able to keep the D-backs in the game. They eventually won 2-1.
And the 2 walks you mentioned for Boxberger the other night, it wasn't like he was missing the strike zone by a wide margin. He was just off the edges for those 2 walks.
Yeah, walked Polanco to start the 11th and then walked Bell. Harrison bunted him over. They walked Meadows intentionally with first base open. Then they had the play on the ball. Marte hit the broken bat that Lamb came home. That tied the ball game, but then Box struck out Freeze and got Diaz to ground out to end a bases loaded threat when the Pirates had the winning run 90 feet away with 1 out. Harrison starts it off. He doubled in the 6th, 1 for 3. D-backs overload the left-hand side. 3 defenders in the infield. 2-0 on the Pirates leadoff man. Fastball fouled away, and it's 2-2. Austin Meadows on deck. Starling Marte after that. On the ground to shortstop, Nick Ahmed. 1 away. Don Wall standing by. D-backs live post-game show follows our ball game. Hopefully we'll be talking sweep as we head off to Miami for another 4-game set against the Marlins that starts tomorrow night. Meadows 0 for 3. He has struck out twice. And now they'll slide the shift over to the right-hand side of the infield.
It looks like Brad Boxberger has some cutting action on that fastball at times, especially when he wants to come inside to a lefty.
Well, we've seen Meadows go the other way to left and left center in this series. That one gets through between Ahmed and Marte. A 1-out single for Meadows. Well, Boxberger got the ground ball into the shift, but that found a hole.
There wasn't much of a hole there to be had, but Meadows managed to put it perfectly between Marte and Nick Ahmed. Looked like Marte gave up on it rather quickly. I think Nick realized that if he dives for that ball, by the time he gets up, Meadows is going to be on first base anyway, so why risk an injury?
It was hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
Starling Marte doubled in the 4th, 1 for 3 today. Good fastball down low, strike 1. Double play ball. Marte, Ahmed, and they roll it. And the D-backs sweep 4 in Pittsburgh.
Boy, talk about taking care of business. This Pirates team obviously struggling the way the Diamondbacks did back in the month of May. Come in here, step on their neck, take 4, and move along.
D-backs now 11 games over 500 this season. They've won 12 of their last 16. And they take 6 of 7 from the Pirates this year. PNC Park along the river here in Pittsburgh. We fought the elements. We fought the Pirates. We fought the rain delays. D-backs 3-0 in the finale. They sweep 4. Up next, it's D-backs Live, presented by CenturyLink. Todd Walsh from down on the field. Reaction from inside the clubhouse. What was your key to the game again? Sweep! Nice.